Central Bank of Nigeria committed to stability in financial systems, says Governor Emefiele. World Bank says debt servicing will go up 123% of 2023 revenue. Oil up $2 a barrel on supply risk amid ongoing Keystone outage. Plus Asia Pacific stocks mixed as crucial reading of U.S. inflation data looms. This is Business Express on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, and we're reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Leah Katung Babatunde, your guide. The World Bank has projected the debt servicing will go up 123.4% of the federal government's revenue in the year 2023. This was according to a presentation made by the new World Bank lead economist for Nigeria, Alex Sinat, in a document entitled Nigeria Public Finance Review, Fiscal Adjustments for Better and Sustainable Development Results. The document projected the debt servicing will go up 100.2% of federal government revenue by the end of the year 2022. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says it has so far disbursed 9.714 trillion naira across 7 key sectors of the economy to support jobs, drive growth, and improve financial inclusion. This disclosure was made at the Development Finance Retreat of the bank, where efforts to mitigate the effects of the coronavirus pandemic, among other efforts, was x-rayed. Have waned drastically, but it still lingers as the global supply chains continue to feel the bite of the Russia-Ukraine war amid other global shocks. The Central Bank of Nigeria says it has injected close to 10 trillion naira to key sectors that include manufacturing and industry, energy and infrastructure, agriculture, services, MSMEs, export, and health.
It is very clear in my mind that prosperity will judge us for all actions taken to bridge the gap through our interventions, which are aimed at spurring economic activities, scaling up diversification of the production base, and enabling infrastructure development in Nigeria.
Let's remember that the path to sustainable development and the path to inclusion is not.
Well, some technical issues there, and apologies. Now, with an apparent high number of operators, women are getting the thumbs up as major contributory force in Nigeria's micro business sector and the nation's GDP. This was at the Micro, Small and Medium Youth Expo in Abuja, which seeks to promote inclusiveness in the financial sector that will allow women to contribute large-scale change and a fundamental shift in the business and financial landscape across Africa. Bosside Abel reports.
The Central Bank of Nigeria ascribed 60% of the 220 billion Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Fund to women, which translates to women taking up more than 60% of the fund. To this end, women under the umbrella of New Faces, New Voices are advocating pushing the frontier by making the difference in the 21st century marketplace.
We stand with you in your efforts to see that the new faces and the voices of Nigerian women come to the fore.
The pace of our economic recovery is hinged on a viable MSME sector. Therefore, we must act now.
Being the 4th edition for youth, speakers emphasized the need for creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive, encouraging investment as well as women empowerment at all levels.
We've achieved so much. We started from the grassroots women, give them the space to explore their full potential as young entrepreneurs for the youth wing.
A lot of women are being held back by mindset, culture, and religion. But all that is changing because there is a way you can still do your business and maintain your integrity and self-respect.
We are still planning on organizing such kind of events to the grassroots level.
This initiative is a platform to deepen financial inclusion of women on the continent and enhance the performance of women in the business sector.
Let's now take a look at the official exchange rate of the Naira. The International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, is set to release a total sum of $1.7 million to upscale rice and cassava production in Nigeria. IFAD Country Director Dede Ukwa says the initiative is aimed to mitigate the effect of floodings and other challenges associated with crop production in the country. She says the release of the funds has become necessary to help farmers deal with the effect of multiple shocks they experienced this year.
The 5 million that is already allocated to VCDP will be disbursed along 3 years because it's a recovery program. It's not an emergency fund that will go into direct support just for emergency. It is to rebuild the capacity of farmers to produce products that are of high quality and that can be sold at the right price through the market.
For rehabilitation of affected, damaged infrastructure, that we will do in 2023, first quarter. But right now, our main focus is to make sure that our farmers have some food to eat and then some income that will help them go back to the farm in the coming wet season. Therefore, we've decided to reallocate some of our funds from the 2022 approved budget. That's our 2022 appropriation now.
Okay, so we return to the Development Finance Retreat, where the Central Bank of Nigeria says it has so far disbursed 9.714 trillion naira across 7 key sectors of the economy to support jobs, drive growth, and improve financial inclusion. Let's take that report now. The coronavirus pandemic and its effects may have waned drastically, but it still lingers as the global supply chains continue to feel the bite of the Russia-Ukraine war amid other global shocks. The Central Bank of Nigeria says it has injected close to 10 trillion naira to key sectors that include manufacturing and industry, energy and infrastructure, agriculture, services, MSMEs, export and health.
It is very clear in my mind that prosperity will judge us for all actions taken to bridge the gap through our interventions, which are aimed at spurring economic activities, scaling up diversification of the production base, and enabling infrastructure development in Nigeria.
Let's remember that the path to sustainable development and the path to inclusion is not one that will be easy. But we've shown and we've demonstrated that we can work together. We can be committed through concerted effort, through collaboration, and more importantly, through our own sense of patriotism.
The bulk of the funds disbursed went to the private sector and subnationals. It was an opportunity to assess the development finance initiatives and look deeper into enhancing food security in Nigeria.
The subnationals indeed get a lot of support from the CBN in trying to fulfill our campaign promises of job creation, livelihood improvement.
What we're doing is not just for as today is for even our future and the future of our country.
While this is hardly any comfort over the rising prices of food, yet had we not intervened, we could have been facing certain food crises and severe famine of historical proportions.
It was an opportunity to assess the development finance initiatives and look deeper into enhancing food security in Nigeria. Okay, we move straight to the global commodity market. Now, the global scale of women's financial exclusion makes it clear that to achieve universal financial access, there is the need to focus on women. But this is not an easy task, as expanding access to finance for women brings some unique challenges that funders and development practitioners should be thinking about as we push towards universal inclusion. To speak on issues around women's financial inclusion is a financial advisor, MoneyWise International. Tonya Alashe, you're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you very much.
And nice to have you on set again. It's been a while, right?
It's been a while, yes.
Yes, so great. So perhaps we move straight to the conversation. How big, when we talk about women inclusion and exclusion, how big is this?
Yes, so it's a big issue globally, actually, and even at the recent International Financial Inclusion conference held in Nigeria for the first time, very big conference, people from over 78 countries, 5,000 delegates. It was really huge. It was a major topic for discussion. And but according to a recent report by Women Financial Inclusion Data Partnership, we still have the gap is still to financial access between men and women is 10% and is increasing. It has actually increased to 12, and then they say that it's not looking to go lower than 10 until 2027. Now, the challenges are enormous. It's actually a huge issue, but with the recent incoming of fintechs and all of that, it's gradually improving, and a lot of institutions are doing so many things in this regard to make sure that women are more financially included. So it's a major challenge, but I mean,
is information a problem here? And of course, when we talk referrals, are women less likely to get referrals?
Yeah, so when you say information, it's actually data driven. So a lot of women don't have bank accounts. The ones who have are underserved. So the only information available out there is actually the data of women who have opened accounts. Meanwhile, the higher percentage of them don't have bank accounts. They still operate with money on the pillows, in the purses, and all of that. And mostly because their income is low. Mostly because of the social factors surrounding women. So because of data, you could say that yes, there's a challenge when it comes to information, because you really need to know them to be able to target them. You need to be able to access them and all of that. So that particular, gathering data has been a challenge. Even though, like I said, with the incoming of a lot of fintechs into that space. They are a bit more structured with the way they gather data. So you would have a woman, who just saves money daily with, what do you call them? The Isusu kind of Ajo and all that kind of thing. And those people don't have data. So how do you access these people that you don't even know? So it becomes a very major challenge. Yeah.
Okay, now we're talking data, information, and then interestingly, just last week we saw a new set of guidelines from the central bank that primarily targets financial inclusion. I would say, when you say you cannot do XYZ amount of cash transactions unless you do that electronically. What does this mean for the women folks who have been underserved?
Yeah. So it's still a major challenge. However, what it means is that they would have to learn how to use some of this technology. Now, it's kind of complex because now I remember working with some set of marginalized girls who have been empowered by a certain NGO at the time during COVID 2020, and then I was supposed to work with them virtually. Now, imagine me trying to work with women who are not in Abuja, and it has to be over the phone. Now, guess what? Most of the time when we called them, my team and all of that, their husbands had the phone.
Oh, dear.
So, literally, we were unable to reach a huge percentage of them who had been empowered with business, but they have no access to a phone. They submitted their husband's phones, and then you call, the man is in Sokoto, is in one location. So, yeah, the challenges are so real. And good thing is, women can you still have the limits that you can access with cash, but we're going to have to get to a point where we have really practical solutions that women can leverage on. You know, the USSD is a good option if only they would just have phones. A lot of them don't even have the smartphone, let alone the smartphone.
So basically now we've gotten to a point where the phones are now necessity.
Very basic.
And yeah.
Very basic. If anybody is going to, I think it's also part of the challenges that you have financial institutions face, because most of their products you have to have a phone and internet to be able to use them. So it's a lot of challenge. Also, you have the issues of training these women to use these products. Yeah, so I believe that women are very smart. They just need to be shown what to do. They can learn. So we still have a lot of work to do, because most of the financially excluded people are actually in those villages and all of that. And we need to bring products to them. They're not women that can just up and leave and go to it. Most banks are far from them. They have to travel. They don't even have the resources for these things. So we have to be able to reach them where they are.
Okay, so it is also believed that providers don't really have the incentives to encourage women, or rather to pull them in to these to assess this services. Is that a true picture of things?
It is, because truthfully, if you're going to do, imagine what I just described, it takes a lot. You would have to go and onboard these women to whatever solution you created, one-on-one. Meanwhile, if they had access to phone, technology, internet, everybody can onboard, but at the same time all over the country. But when it comes to this class of women, we have to actually go and engage them one-on-one. So imagine the cost of hiring the team that will work, do all those things. So even when we create products targeted at women, say zero, when you maybe 12% interest on your savings because you're a woman, and you know, maybe solutions that are, if you get an ATM card as a woman, you get a credit of maybe 5,000. It costs money. Now the market for women that are currently excluded is still huge, about 294 billion naira. It runs into millions and millions of dollars. But then for a financial institution to now get down to actually, we probably have to buy phones for all these women, install internet stations close to them so they can access some of these facilities. And for a business person, you want to weigh if this is what you want to do. So it could be a major challenge for
So
for them.
is it a case of women excluding themselves, or it's more of a societal thing?
It's more of societal, and then we also have come to now accept it. We've seen women who have done phenomenal things in the financial space, right? They had to break the barriers, push the limits, and insist that no, you're not going to limit me. So it has become something we've accepted. But then when you have a family where the woman is expected to take care of the kids and all, you can't just say you're leaving when the husband is leaving too. The question is, who will take care of the kids? Who will cook the food? So yeah, societal norms and all of that, culture issues, but women also have come to accept it. Again, I said it, that women are very smart. So we've worked, I remember the time that I worked with a group of widows, and they had been empowered, and I was brought on to talk to them about how to manage the finances in the business and all of that. And for some of them who had even started the businesses, they were making a lot of income. But you see, there's this mindset that we now have as women, that once my husband is gone, I am helpless and things don't work anymore. While the culture may have fostered that a bit or kickstarted it, a lot of women have embraced it as a norm. So, and then I brought it down to them. I made it very practical. So, okay, now you say that you make 5,000, 10,000 per week. How much is your rent? How much is school fees? This thing that really stress you out about money, what are they? Do you have an account? Some of them didn't even know at the time that they could open an account with zero balance.
Yeah.
They didn't know they could walk to a bank and open an account with zero. I was so shocked. And I'm like, so this thing is real. So you can find out a lot of women have accepted that, oh, this is who we are. But that's not true. After training them, they ended up opening accounts. They now save 1,000 daily and all of that. Working in the bank, I saw all these women frying akara yam around the place. They will come in with their daily savings. And these women had hundreds and hundreds of thousands after a few time. And at the time, what the bank did was zero balance for everybody. So a lot of them came in to open. So women, we tend to accept. I remember when I started my financial advisory business, most of my followers were men, but it's changing now.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah, I have more women now, and I'm excited.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So we're improving on that.
Yeah, a whole lot of work, but
Yes.
it's exciting to know that we're going to get there someday.
Yes.
I must sincerely thank you, Tony, for
Thank you very
always
much.
making that time to be
Thank
on
you
the
for
show.
having me. Thank
Okay,
you.
have a nice one.
Thank you.
So trading activities on the floor of the Nigerian exchange closed Monday's session with a gain of 10 billion naira in market capitalization as bulls regained their grip on the local bourse. In the same vein, the all-share index increased by 0.04% to close at 48,899.08 basis points. The stock market value stood at 26.6 trillion naira. Let's now move straight to the global stock market.
Shares opened in positive territory this Tuesday as investors looked ahead to a highly anticipated Federal Reserve meeting and U.S. inflation figures. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index was up 0.96%. The Nikkei 225 in Japan added 0.40%. In mainland China, the Shenzhen Composite shed 0.174%, while the Shanghai Composite climbed 0.09%. U.S. stock futures were flat early Tuesday as Wall Street braced for November's key inflation. Futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average inched up 0.08% lower, while futures connected to the S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 traded flat. European markets are heading for a positive open on Tuesday as global investors await the latest U.S. inflation data. UK's FTSE dropped 0.41%, while figures are being awaited from other parts of the zone. Markets in Africa have just opened but are yet to post numbers. Boss de Able, Business Express.
And that wraps Business Express for now. Remember to send in your comments, observations, and suggestions. Also be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTS channel. You can also communicate with us via our various social media platforms. Business Express returns Wednesday at 3 p.m. Don't forget, we are 2 days away before the new Naira notes come into circulation. My name is Leah Katung Babatunde. Say have a wonderful day and God bless Nigeria.